Okay, so we have found ourselves in Pennsylvania with a complete criminal judge, Judge Sonya Mcknight, and holy crap. You're not going to believe it. You may have seen this already. I'm just saying it has met a conclusion at this point, and this is from a year ago, and then we're going to go up to a couple days ago, and we'll see how this plays out. Also, I would like to note, people hate it when I do this. 84%, we're down to 84% of people that watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. Phone in your hand, you're at your laptop, click the button, and we'll move along. So this is where we're at right now.
And a central Pennsylvania magistrate judge is now facing attempted murder and aggravated assault charges. Police say she tried killing her ex-boyfriend, but tried to put the blame for the shooting on the victim. 57-year-old Sonya Mcknight is now accused of shooting Michael McCoy in the head while he slept last weekend. Police said she tried to convince McCoy that he had pulled the trigger on himself. Mcknight was already suspended from the bench without pay in November over several pending violations. Mcknight claims she is innocent.
She claims she's innocent. Of course she claims she's innocent. But you know how, like, you see this and you read something and it always seems like there's more questions than answers? Yes. More questions. Sure, there's more to the story, right? There is.
ABC 27 there when suspended Magisterial District Judge Sonya Mcknight was arrested this afternoon on criminal attempt murder and aggravated assault charges. It stems from an incident on February 10th where the Cumberland County District Attorney says Mcknight shot the victim in the head while they were in bed sleeping, and the victim is now blind in one eye. Mcknight's bail was set for $300,000. She has also been suspended without pay since last year for violations including theft of time, soliciting a product on her social media account, and failing to show up to multiple court dates without providing an excuse.
Failing to show up to multiple court dates without providing an excuse. Now, anybody else that's not government, that would trigger a warrant for your arrest and you'd be in jail.
2019, Mcknight shot and wounded her estranged husband. That shooting was ruled self-defense.
In 2019, she shot her estranged husband. And they ruled that self-defense. And then, this would have been from last year, 2024, she has shot the ex-boyfriend. I'm just saying. Anyway, so let's move along. Where's it going now?
Yeah, Mcknight, who was a magisterial district judge here in Dauphin County, is accused of shooting her ex-boyfriend in the head while he was sleeping in his home last year. And at the start of the trial today, we can expect...
Shot him in the head and then tried to make him believe that he shot himself. You can't make this up.
...to hear opening statements from both prosecutors and her lawyers, as well as a presentation of all of the evidence submitted for this case. Take a look at your screen. This is video of officers at the scene when this happened. Police say this was at the ex-boyfriend's home in Susquehanna Township on February 10th of 2024, and the shooting left the man blinded in one eye. Court documents show the ex-boyfriend told police that this came after he tried numerous times to get Mcknight to move out after he ended their one-year relationship. Police say the victim awoke to a massive head pain and was blinded, and court documents show Mcknight told them, "What did you do to yourself?" Mcknight is facing attempted murder and aggravated assault charges, but Mcknight's attorneys say she is innocent. Mcknight told police the day of the incident that she was sleeping when she heard her ex-boyfriend screaming, and in a statement last year, her attorneys have said the charges are merely allegations and nothing more. Now, prosecution is being handled by Cumberland County District Attorney Sean McCormack to avoid conflict of interest, since she was a Dauphin County judge, and that trial is set to begin at 9 o'clock this morning.
Yes, and the trial has already commenced. Also, it's just allegations, yes, until the gunshot residue comes back. There's two people in that house, him and her. He says he didn't shoot himself. She says he shot himself. This is what the jury said.
With any more emphasis that I disagree with the judgment that they made, Ms. Mcknight will absolutely be appealing this. She did not attempt to kill Mr. McCoy. Thank you.
Former Dauphin County Judge Sonya Mcknight has been found guilty of attempting to kill her ex-boyfriend by shooting him in the head while he slept. We appreciate you joining us tonight at 6. I'm TJ Anthony. This morning, the courthouse right behind me, the jury deliberated for less than 2 hours before finding Mcknight guilty of first-degree attempted murder and aggravated assault. So she will be sentenced in May. But to take you through the past 3 days of proceedings, we have live team coverage tonight. CBS 21's Jasmine Brooks and Elise Persons are right outside of the Dauphin County Courthouse with the aftermath of this verdict. And guys, a lot of eyes were watching this case closely.
Yes, that's right. Now, Elise has been covering this since day one. TJ, thank you so much. And so, key takeaways from today, Elise.
Yeah, so today kicked off with the judge explaining to the jury how they would be kind of handling these jury deliberations, what they should know, the rules about it, if you would. But one thing that I found very, very interesting in the explanation of how the jury should head into the deliberation room is he talked about how Sonya Mcknight did not get on the stand. So, Michael McCoy, the man that, Sonya is now accused of shooting the head, he took the stand yesterday, but Mcknight never did. And the judge told the jury that is not evidence against Mcknight. This is not something that you can hold against her.
Closing arguments. Can you talk about what the DA said?
Yeah, so the DA, he started his closing arguments sitting down, and he says, looks at the jury, says, typically you go to sleep and you'll have a nightmare. You wake up from it and it's over. He said Michael McCoy on February...
Wonder if he was having a nightmare that he was, I don't know, being shot.
February 10th, 2024, he woke up to the nightmare. He detailed how, this was a heinous crime committed by Sonya Mcknight. He asked the jury to put one and one together to come to the conclusion who shot him, and take a listen to him explaining what that sounded like.
Using your common sense, that's what I urge the jurors to do. There were two people in that house, and only two people in that house, and one of them, the one who was shot, said he did not shoot himself. The logical conclusion is the other person did it, and I'm glad the jury ultimately saw the truth in that statement, and they found her guilty on all charges here today.
Elise, you spent hours inside the courtroom over the past 3 days, so a lot to get to and unpack.
Yeah, so this trial was jam-packed. The jury came from Delaware County, so really it seemed like they were trying to get as much in to the day as possible. The trial kicked off Monday. We were in the courtroom from 9 a.m. until 9:15 p.m., just taking one lunch break, one morning break, one afternoon break, and then yesterday, Tuesday, was day 2 of the trial, kicked off at 9 a.m., and we got out around 4:45 after those closing arguments. So it was a jam-packed couple of days. Take a listen to the recap. After 3 days, 24 witnesses, and 50 pieces of evidence, suspended Dauphin County Judge Sonya Mcknight has been found guilty of first-degree attempted murder and aggravated assault for shooting her ex-boyfriend Michael McCoy in the head while he was sleeping in the early morning hours of February 10th, 2024. The jury reached their verdict in less than 2 hours. McKnight's bail was set at $3 million, and she was taken immediately to the Dauphin County Prison. It was a jam-packed trial beginning Monday morning at 9 a.m. The jury heard from 17 witnesses throughout the day on Monday, including Susquehanna Police Department patrol officers and detectives, the EMS crews that treated McCoy, and forensic experts. Throughout the trial, body cam footage was showed recapping the minutes after police arrived at McCoy's home and up to police interviews with McCoy the day after the shooting. Gunshot residue was brought up frequently throughout the trial. A forensic scientist...
Yes, gunshot residue, and they found some. She tried to destroy it and get rid of it, but they found it.
Scientists took the stand to break down her analysis of the gunshot residue tested in this case. She found McCoy's clothing and hands tested positive for having the maximum amount of gunshot residue present. Whereas McKnight's pajama shorts, a singular sock, her robe, and one part of her hand tested positive for gunshot residue. Officers testified Monday morning McKnight washed her hands and dropped her shirt in the toilet before being tested for gunshot residue. Day 2 of the trial kicked off with McCoy's doctor.
Dropped her shirt in the toilet. Why don't you just throw it in the washer and dryer? I'm just throwing that out there.
At Hershey Medical Center testifying about the severity of his injuries. His trauma surgeon the night of the shooting said if the bullet went in a different trajectory by just a matter of centimeters, this would have been a very different outcome. On Tuesday, McCoy took the stand for the first time, and he touched on the year-long relationship with McKnight, saying, quote, there were always problems. He says he made it clear to McKnight on Friday, February 9th, 2024, he was serious. The relationship was over. He then went to sleep. He says he woke up with excruciating pain. On the stand, he said, quote, I thought I was having a brain aneurysm. I thought my brain was trying to get out of my head. He testified.
Well, technically your brain was trying to get out of your head if you were shot in the right side of your head and it came out the left side. I'm just throwing that out there.
He was the one who asked McKnight to call 911 in the early hours of Saturday morning and was shocked to later learn he had been shot in the head. When asked if he shot himself, McCoy answered no. He says, I don't know who shot me, but I didn't shoot myself. Tuesday afternoon, McKnight told
Don't know who shot me, but there was only 2 of us in here.
The judge she would not be taking the witness stand. Her defense lawyer called for the case to be thrown out. That request was denied. In closing arguments, McKnight's lawyer told the jury the Commonwealth did not provide enough evidence to meet the burden of proof and to find McKnight not guilty. Whereas the Commonwealth asked the jury to piece all the evidence together and come to the conclusion McKnight was the one who pulled the trigger. He said to the jury, quote, when you apply your common sense to this case, the only person who could have committed
common sense. Just saying.
This crime is right here, McCormick said, pointing at McKnight. And in under 2 hours Wednesday morning, the jury came to that decision, finding Sonya Mcknight guilty on 2 felony charges.
Okay, so because you were in the courtroom and cameras weren't allowed, you really can give us firsthand experience of what you saw. I want to know what McCoy did when that verdict was read today.
So I was watching him closely as the guilty verdict came in, and he was sitting in the front row behind the Commonwealth, behind the prosecution, and there was a small ledge right there in the front row. And as they read guilty, he put his head down, slightly, and kind of up and down with his head, pounded lightly that ledge a little bit, seemingly in a relief and a victory sensation. So really, just a moment to see in person.
How about Sonya Mcknight?
Sonya Mcknight, her back was to us. She kept her eyes seemingly on the judge, and I was looking for any sign of emotion, if you would, looking at her shoulders, and I didn't see anything. It wasn't until she was walked out of the courtroom in cuffs that I finally got to see her face, and it was pretty expressionless, I would say.
Also, she had to take off all her jewelry, hand her purse over to her family. Talk about that.
Yeah.
Somebody who had so much power kind of in that moment, stripping their sense of identity in a way.
Right. I mean, it was really interesting because as the jury went into the deliberation room, I was watching to see what Sonya would do in that time while they were in there. She was able to be on her phone. She was sitting there interacting with family members. But once that guilty verdict came in, she had to stand up. She started by removing her earrings. One of the court officers helped her remove her necklaces. All of that jewelry, along with her purse, was then handed over to her family, which she then put, her hands behind her back and walked out of that courtroom.
In a way, it was the moment her freedom was stripped from her and taken from her. Also, McCoy was able to watch all that happen. What was happening as she was leaving the courtroom?
So I watched McCoy throughout the trial to see if he would look at McKnight while he was on the stand. I didn't see him look over at McKnight once, almost seemingly avoiding to look at her at all. But as she was being walked out of the courtroom, you could see his eyes following her very closely and his head nodding up and down as she exited that courtroom in handcuffs.
Also a new mugshot that we got within the last 2 hours.
Yeah, so that is newly released, and it's an interesting, picture that is accompanied on her crime watch announcing the charges. It's one of her smiling quite big. Definitely something that was surprising to see, if you would. Something that will, as you mentioned earlier, live on forever. As of right now on that crime watch with the, pinned note, Sonya Mcknight charged with, attempted murder.
Now, she was out of prison up until now. What did the judge do when it comes to her bail to get her in prison now?
So her initial bail was set at $300,000, which she originally posted,
right,
allowing her out until, today. But the judge increased her bail to $3 million. And when he made, that announcement, if you would, you could hear an audible gasp in the courtroom.
Wow. All right. Well, how did we get here? Because this conviction seems like kind of a conclusion, if you will, will.
Well, we got here because she shot her damn boyfriend in the head. That's how we got here.
To a streak of McKnight's trouble with the law. So we want to kind of take you back to 2019 when she was investigated by the AG's office for shooting her estranged husband.
Shooting her estranged husband. Of course, they're going to tell you that was self-defense. I think they need to revisit that.
At her Harrisburg home and was put on leave. Eventually, she was cleared with the AG's office, Elise, citing self-defense because she did have a PFA against him.
Yeah, so then in 2020, McKnight faced multiple charges, including tampering with evidence, after she was accused of trying to influence the police after the arrest of her son. She was acquitted of all counts in that case in 2021, but then in 2023, McKnight was suspended without pay by the Pennsylvania Judicial Council, Conduct Board, I should say, on allegations this time of theft and other issues such as refusing to recuse herself from cases, one involving a Harrisburg police officer involved in her 2020 arrest, as well as not showing up to work.
Elise, what comes next?
So next will be McKnight's sentencing hearing. She's currently at the Dauphin County Prison, but May 28th, 9 a.m., she will be right back here at the Dauphin County Courthouse in the same courtroom that she was found guilty of these charges to find out how long she will be serving time in state prison.
All right, Elise Person, thank you so much for your reporting. I'm Jasmine Brooks. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Jasmine. And we will be awaiting the sentencing hearing on May 28th. So that's where we're at with this one. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Also, again, 84% of people that watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. Got your phone in your hand, got your laptop, click the button, and we'll move along. Let me know what you think about this one, and I am out.